The ink on the paper was dry, but the wound it opened was fresh. My father's love had always felt distant. Now it was written in his will. I stood in the dimly lit study, the heavy curtains drawn against the afternoon sun, as if the room itself was in mourning. The lawyer's words echoed in my ears, a cruel reminder of the chasm that had always existed between my father and me. To my son Thomas, I leave everything. 6 words that erased a lifetime of hoping, of trying to earn a love that seemed forever out of reach. My brother, the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in our father's eyes, would inherit it all: the family estate, the business, even the antique pocket watch that had been passed down for generations. And me, I was left with nothing but the bitter taste of rejection. I ran my fingers over the embossed letterhead, feeling the weight of my father's final message. How many times had I sat in this very room, perched on the edge of his leather chair, desperately seeking a word of approval, a glimmer of affection. Now, in death, he had made his feelings crystal clear. I was an afterthought, a footnote in the story of his life. The lawyer cleared his throat, his discomfort palpable in the heavy silence. "Miss Elizabeth, I'm truly sorry. If there's anything I can do... ... Double quotes, his voice trailed off, the platitude hanging in the air between us. What could he do? What could anyone do to mend a heart shattered by a parent's indifference? I turned away, unable to bear the pity in his eyes. My gaze fell on the family portrait above the fireplace, a frozen moment of false harmony. There we stood, my father's hand on Thomas's shoulder, his smile proud and genuine. And me slightly apart, my own smile strained and hopeful. Even then, I had known. Even then, I had felt the chill of his disregard. As I left the study, my steps echoing through the empty halls of my childhood home, I felt a strange sense of liberation. The constant need to prove myself, to earn a place in my father's heart, had been a weight I'd carried for so long. Now, with his final act of dismissal, that weight was lifted. But in its place was a hollowness, a void that threatened to consume me. Days passed in a blur of grief and anger. I wandered the rooms of the house, touching familiar objects, remembering moments of laughter and tears. Each memory was tainted now, colored by the knowledge that, in the end, I hadn't mattered enough. I was a ghost in my own life, invisible and forgotten. It was on a rain-soaked afternoon, as I sorted through old papers in the attic, that I found it. A second letter tucked away in a dusty box of childhood mementos. My hands trembled as I unfolded the yellowed paper, recognizing my father's bold handwriting. "My dearest Elizabeth," it began, and I felt my heart constrict. "If you're reading this, then I'm gone, and you've discovered the truth of my will. I can only imagine the pain and confusion you must feel, but there is so much you don't know, so much I never had the courage to tell you." The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. I blinked them away, desperate to read on, to understand. My father's letter spoke of secrets long buried, of mistakes made in youth that had shaped the course of our family's history. He wrote of a promise made, a debt owed that had forced him to favor Thomas in all things, even against the wishes of his heart. "You were always the strong one, Elizabeth," he wrote. "From the moment you were born, I saw a fire in you, a resilience that both awed and terrified me. I pushed you away, not because I didn't love you, but because I feared that love would make you weak. I thought by withholding my affection, I would forge you into someone unbreakable. I see now how wrong I was, how much damage I've done." As I read, I felt the walls I'd built around my heart begin to crumble. The anger and hurt that had defined my relationship with my father for so long began to shift, transforming into something more complex, more nuanced. It didn't erase the years of pain, but it offered a new lens through which to view our shared history. The letter went on, revealing truths that shook the foundation of everything I'd believed about our family. My father's choices, his apparent favoritism, had been born out of a misguided attempt to protect me from the consequences of his own past mistakes. In trying to shield me, he had instead created a wound that had festered for years. "I leave you nothing in my will," he wrote, "because I have already given you the greatest gift I could, the strength to forge your own path, unburdened by the weight of our family's legacy. Thomas will inherit the trappings of wealth, but you, my dear, have inherited something far more valuable, the freedom to become whoever you choose to be." As I finished reading, I felt a strange sense of peace settle over me. The hurt was still there, a dull ache in my chest, but alongside it was a newfound understanding. My father's love, imperfect and flawed as it was, had been there all along, hidden beneath layers of misguided protection and unspoken regret. I folded the letter carefully, holding it close to my heart. Outside, the rain had stopped, and a weak sun was breaking through the clouds. I moved to the small attic window, looking out over the grounds of the estate that had once felt like a prison. Now, I saw it differently, not as something I had lost, but as a chapter of my life that was closing, making way for something new. The past, with all its complexities and pain, had shaped me, but standing there, bathed in the soft light of a new day, I realized that it did not define me. My father's final gift was not material wealth, but the opportunity to write my own story, free from the shadows of the past. As I descended the attic stairs, letter in hand, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The future stretched out before me, uncertain but full of possibility. I was no longer the invisible daughter, the forgotten child. I was Elizabeth, strong and resilient, ready to forge my own path in the world. The ink on my father's letter was dry, But the understanding it brought was fresh and alive. His love, hidden for so long, had finally found its way to me. And in that moment, I knew that while the past would always be a part of me, it was the future that I would embrace. A future of my own making, unburdened by the weight of inheritance or expectation. As I stepped out of the house and into the sunlight, I felt a sense of liberation. The wound my father's will had opened was beginning to heal, transformed by the truth hidden in that second letter. I was ready to write the next chapter of my life, not as a footnote in someone else's story, but as the author of my own destiny.